Hey, sixth graders. I hope that you're doing well. I am excited to share with you our last slide presentation of all of these decades of songs of strength. But before I do that, just a quick few announcements. First of all, I've loved seeing your work coming in. I'm really proud of you guys. Those of you that have been taking the time to do your music assignments have been doing a really awesome job. As we kind of get closer to the end of the school year, just a reminder, if there were a couple weeks that you didn't finish or didn't get a chance to get to because life was just kind of crazy as it is right now, go back and try and complete them. And I'll update your grade in Power School. If you, the way I'm grading this time around is not on any standards, just on your work habits. And I separated our virtual learning essentially into two groups of 6 weeks. So the first work habit grade that you see is if you did 2 out of the 3 assignments that I had in Google Classroom, you got a 3. If you did 1 or none, you got a 1. So you can totally change that if you go back and work and complete the work, okay? If you have questions, just let me know. But like I said, those of you that have been completing the work, I'm super, super proud of you. Let's get to it. Music of the 1990s and 2000s. This is when I was like your age. And yeah, it's fun because this is all the stuff that I grew up with, okay? So first of all, in the 1990s, rap music starts gaining popularity, and it starts showing more demographic shifts. This means that it shows life of higher class versus lower class. And if you've ever seen the TV show Fresh Prince of Bel-Air with Will Smith, we really totally see that. He's this kid that lives in Philadelphia and is like in this working class hard neighborhood, and then goes to live with his uncle in Bel Air, and it's like this ritzy, fancy neighborhood. So we start seeing a lot more of shifts that way. We don't see as much separation between white skin and black skin, or white music and black music. It's all kind of merging together. And some other artists that you might recognize: MC Hammer, can't touch this, right there. If you've ever seen that in his hammer pants, you know what I'm talking about. Vanilla Ice and LL Cool J. Those are all good popular rap artists of the 1990s. Hip hop music really starts emerging. This is important because it gets to what I said earlier. Music was no longer classified for white versus black audience. It basically meant that everyone listened to all kinds of music, no matter what their skin color was or what class they lived in. Remember last week I talked about a lower, a middle, and a higher class? Well, we kind of see that shifting, and people are starting to listen to everything, right? Boy bands continue to gain popularity. So some of you found this out with your moms or your dads, probably your moms, when you did your interview, that this started back in the 1980s with New Kids on the Block. In the 90s, we have NSYNC and the Backstreet Boys, right? And we also see some female groups starting to emerge. We see the Spice Girls and Destiny's Child. And then there's a whole bunch more solo pop artists like Mariah Carey, Usher, and there's so many more. Long story short, this decade was when I was in elementary school. And the cool thing about listening to music here was we had CDs that came out, and it made it so much easier to listen to music. Okay. And you're going to see that kind of as a trend. So if we talk about music of the 2000s and beyond, I'm really just giving you the sprinkles. I'm not even giving you the good ice cream part. This new century started out with terrorist attacks, right? This is when 9/11 happened, 9/11, 2001, and that's when the planes crashed into the Twin Towers and also in the Pentagon, and it sent the United States immediately back into war. Now, just like other times, when we have war or something really large that impacts our whole country or globally, music changes. It starts to focus on what's happening in the world. And in this case, music started to really focus on a love of people and a pride of our country, and use many songs of wars past. So what I can remember because I was a freshman in high school when this happened. I can remember the day that it happened. School had just started, literally, because it was the 11th of September. And long story short, within the next few weeks after this, we started seeing, or I remember hearing and seeing a whole bunch of different activities across the nation really starting to gather together and show pride in our country. I remember country music taking this. I haven't really talked a ton about country music, taking this event and really exploding with it. For example, a new song that came about was Where Were You by Alan Jackson. Um, and I think it's important to note that I haven't talked a ton about country music, not because I don't like it. Actually, I really enjoy it. Country songs have always told stories of real life, of living in the country. And they always do a really good job of connecting reality to pop culture or music, if that makes sense. Okay. So this is just one example of a song. Where Were You? There was a whole bunch of other songs. Have You Forgotten is another one. I'm Proud to Be American. That was actually written in the 90s, but that's a song that came back and grew more popular. So just an example of how events really can change our music and what we're doing. It's safe to say pop music continued to grow, and as technology grows, more electronic sounds are used in music. Okay, we can see this in music by like Lady Gaga or Kesha. They really start bringing in a lot of these cool tech effects and making music more modern to fit the changing technology. Okay, and also we see music branch off into a whole bunch of subcategories. What I mean by that is we kind of see like this family tree of music, if that makes sense. So imagine your family tree where you might have your grandma and your grandpa, and then it stems off from that. And then you have your mom or your dad, all of your aunts and uncles, and then it stems off of that. And each one has all of their kids, which would be you. That's kind of what happens to music. It explodes essentially in a really cool way. And a lot of this has to do with the fact that technology is advancing and music is much easier to gain access to. If I think back to, I told you about fifth grade where CDs became like the big thing, and I got a CD player that was super cool. But then think about when I started college. And when I started college, that's when MP3 players were like the huge thing. And I want to say by my sophomore, junior year of college, we're talking like 2006, 2007. This is when the first generation of iPods start coming out. And from there, they just evolved from iPods to like just iPhones where you can do everything in one spot. And because of that, that literally means anyone, anywhere across the globe has access to all kinds of music. And that's just super, super cool if you think about it, right? Now, the big point I've been talking about music of the decades and songs that give us strength and blah, blah, blah for the past 6 crazy weeks of this COVID crisis, right? What is the big picture? Well, the main point, there I am, center screen. It's not me, but the main point that I want you to take home away from this is events in our history shape and change how we make music and show what is happening at that time. Long story short, if I even simplify that even more, things that happen in life change our music. If we think about the past 6 weeks and being stuck at home, I think about shows like American Idol. I think about shows like The Voice and how they've had to go completely remote. I think about how musicians are pulling songs that make people feel happy and are starting to do more performances. That's super cool. I think about even for us how our technology has evolved and we're able to make all kinds of wicked cool videos. Like Mr. Jules made some really cool videos of people playing duets um, with themselves. That in itself is so cool, and it reflects what's happening at our time. Okay. So that's kind of the big thing that I want you to take away from all of this. Hopefully you've gotten exposed to some cool music in the process. I tried to pick the good ones. And now for your weekly check-in, remember, do both parts. I think everyone mostly did this last week, so I was proud of you for that. But the first thing, you guys know this, it's pretty much the same. Tell me 2 things that you learned from the 1990s or 2000s. Give details from your videos, not your thoughts. Okay, you guys know this by now. You're pros. Don't just say it was weird, it was good. You guys can relate to this music a little bit more. Yeah, I know it's, still older than you, but it's closer to you than you think. So give me some good stuff from my video here that I just talked about. And then number 2, this is for curiosity's sake, because part of my goal in this was just to kind of expose you to good music. Okay, there's so much out there. Tell me, out of all the songs or artists that I've mentioned the past few weeks, which artist or band was your favorite? You might not have like one that's like, oh my gosh, I have to go listen to it now, but tell me one that you didn't think was half bad. All right. So think about that. And give me your answer, give me your thoughts. Remember to go back, complete any missing assignments so that way I can give you guys all rock star status for music and your work habits can say 3s across the board because I'd love that. Remember, I miss you, I love you, and if you have questions, let me know. I'll see you guys next time.